Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for Man. Man, three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12, good!
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo, good! The Bulls win! They win it!
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in.
Going up over Bell, ball away. Yes! Yes! At the buzzer, he does it! Was there ever a doubt? A Smith screen, Posey will defend. Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life. It's a physical game. Oh, real fun! A monster jam by Blake Griffin.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Dime Dropper, another post-game recap for the 2022-23 season. Before we get started, you already see the bottom if you're watching on YouTube. Follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod, and of course, subscribe on YouTube to Dime Dropper for all things Clippers, LA sports, NBA history. Oh, man. I don't even know where to start. Clippers playing against the Golden State Warriors tonight in what was a must-win game, but I feel like I've been saying that for quite some time, and the players just don't feel the same way. The coaching staff doesn't feel the same way, and it's evident by their lack of focus and their inability to play good basketball for 4 quarters. You know, I think there's been maybe 1 or 2 games where we've played 4 quarters of good basketball. One of them was the game against Dallas that I went to, the first vlog, not the Kyrie one. The motto this year was give no quarter, but they give away more quarters than a fucking ATM. This team is not serious. Their approach to the regular season wasn't serious. They had one good half tonight. Russ was playing amazing. I thought he was the reason why we were out to that half. Kawhi was really good, but the rest of the team wasn't hitting shots. Paul George wasn't hitting shots. Norman Powell continued to brick. You just expected a bounce-back game from him. Turns out his arm's in a sling now after the game. I figured when he was missing all those shots, maybe he's not 100% but the thing is, he's just missing open threes, and they're not like all short. He missed some in and out. He missed some long. I don't know. Maybe it felt more mental to me, but who knows? Eric Gordon, you know, his stat line's going to lie to you. His stat line's going to lie to you that he played okay. Let's take a look at the box score from him. Eric Gordon, he started in place of Marcus Morris tonight. And see, that's the thing. We didn't have Marcus Morris or Zoo. There's no excuses left to make. Eric Gordon had 16 points. He was actually our second leading scorer, but those stats are going to fool you. A lot of those buckets were in garbage time. He was 2 for 10 from 3. And as a team, the Clippers shot 9 for 43 from deep. And I've been saying for 4 years now, the problem with this team is the jump shooting nature of them. From an X's and O, we want to talk strictly basketball. The one thing even if they hadn't traded for Russ, it's a jump shooting team. They rely on mid-range jumpers and long jumpers in the case of Paul George. The only guy that really seems to be able to counter that is Kawhi, but he doesn't even really get to the rim like that either. He's just a mid-range sniper. And we're a jump shooting team. When our threes aren't falling, we don't get enough good shots. What we have, even if we had not gotten Russell Westbrook and we had kept the Terrence Mann starting lineup, we were going to have to rely on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to make contested jumpers. You know, in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, we're going to have to rely on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to do that. And that was always a tall task. Now, let's get to what everybody wants to talk about, and that's the Russell Westbrook. We're 0-4 since we got him, and I know every single Russ hater or Laker fan that just wants to say, I told you so, is going to be saying that this is all Russ's fault. And I rarely believe in the game of basketball it is all one person's fault. Like, very rarely do I believe that. And I don't believe that's the case now, but it's just no secret that it was just unnecessary. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, there's a real doubt about Paul George being such a big part of a championship team, and it has nothing to do with his talent to me. The guy has scored in almost every which way possible, and he's one of those guys where you say, oh, Paul George isn't clutch. You can show game winners he's made. You can show big games he's had in the playoffs, like Game 5 against Utah, Game 6 against Utah. But the thing is, there's levels to this shit. I always say that. And it's the same for Russell Westbrook. All his Russell Westbrook fans, are going to say, well, look at this moment. Look at this big shot he made against Denver in 2017. Look at this performance he had in the conference finals against Steph Curry in 2016. It's just not enough, though. He hasn't won for a reason. And I'm not saying he's had a championship team every year and he's had that many chances to win the championship. Same goes for Paul George. But they've underperformed in the playoffs enough for me to know how they are. And they underperformed with each other twice in a row. Like, everybody wants to say injuries, right? But the reason why I never gave them a pass is because I believe when players make the same mental mistakes and poor decisions when they're healthy as they do when they're injured, then it's not the injury. You make poor decisions. Paul George and Russell Westbrook are notorious for two things. They turn the ball over at the worst possible times for a Hall of Fame player. Like Reggie Jackson does the same thing, but he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. And that was going to be a risk rolling with Paul George, even if we didn't get Russ. And I just think in either scenario, the Clippers weren't a championship team. And I feel like I've kind of fooled myself into believing that they were before the season. Maybe 2-1-3 wasn't it. Maybe this wasn't the pairing. And I think, honestly, Kawhi Leonard getting injured made every single Clipper fan, including me, believe that we were good enough to win a championship. But let's just keep it real. That Western Conference, it was a down year for the West. That wasn't a very good Western Conference. That Utah Jazz team, the Utah Trash, as I like to call them, they weren't that great. They were a very heavily reliant three-point team. Their second best player on offense is non-existent in the playoffs, and their best player is a 6'3" guy that's their best scorer. The only guy that's really won a chip as the clear-cut best scorer at that size is Stephen Curry. These Trae Youngs, these Damian Lillards, these Donovan Mitchells, they're fantastic players. It's going to be hard for them to win a championship as the best player. And that's the Utah Jazz. That's the team that we beat. Yeah, we beat them without Kawhi, and we probably would have beat them with Kawhi. And we probably would have beat the Suns, but I don't know if we would have beaten Milwaukee. And even if, that's the truth. I don't know if we would have beaten Milwaukee because who's to say that Paul George doesn't have a crucial turnover when Drew Holiday's getting right into him in a big game in the finals. At the end of the day, we didn't win the championship. And guys like Reggie, guys like Marcus Morris, these guys, they got a whole year last year where we didn't get to see them play in championship situations or in high-pressure situations. They had no pressure. And you know who else that goes for? Ty Lue. Because when he has the canoes, as we like to call them, with everybody injured, we don't get to judge. It's a win-win for Ty. If we lose, it's, the team wasn't good enough. We were shorthanded. If we win, it's, look how great of a coach he is because he has the next man up mentality that even when his best players aren't playing, the rest of the guys pick up the slack. Ty Lue has lost this team, it seems. Because here's the thing. I get it. It was an off night, but there's enough nights with me saying that there's off nights. You know what I'm saying? We've had so many nights where I just say it's an off night. We're just not making shots. Tonight was another one of those nights, but it's happened far too much. And I know we shoot the three pretty well, but it's just rare that we have a night where we shoot the three well and then we defend at a very high level. Like, our defense has been very poor for a long time. I've always thought that, I thought we were pretty good the first year defensively because Patrick Beverley was still there. And, it was a pretty motivated team. Like, here's one thing I'll say about Montrez. He wasn't a very good defensive player, but he was motivated. Like, the one thing about him is he used to always play hard. And Lou Williams at his best, he wasn't much of a defensive guy, but he really did have a consistent run where he was just a guaranteed 18-6 like every night. And I don't know, man. I just feel like this team doesn't have any consistency in any shape or form. And the front office and the team doesn't do any better by trying to make a big move like this. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's not Russ's fault, but we took a gamble for a reason that we didn't need. Why should we pick up players that are not playing good basketball? There's the thing about Russ. I love him. And it's the same way with John Wall. I was anti both of the moves, but because I'm a Clipper fan and I love this team with every fiber of my being, I try to buy in and give them a chance. And then I try to end up pushing their agenda when I realize I was right the whole fucking time. But you know what I may have been right about that I said in my infamous rant when I trashed our whole team? And yes, I was so hard on that rant, but I had no followers back then. I never thought it would blow up the way it did. So it's a moment in time in my life. And I was a very stressed out individual at that time. My college graduation got taken away, and I didn't even want the bubble to begin with, and I just got my heart broken. And I love this team. So no matter what anyone says and how much they pain me, it's like a sick disease. Like I just can't stop. And I just want it to get better so bad, but I just don't want to lie to my subscribers. I don't want to lie to Clipper fans and tell you it's all going to be good, because what I don't understand, like, look, so, oh, guys, I'm trying so hard not to go nuts. I know everybody wants to see me go nuts. Is that what you want? Guys, in the comments, man, tell me what you want. Let me just hear it, because this is my thing, man. The start of the season, before the season even began, every single player is just their body language, I don't want to say their body language, the way they're talking on social media, the way they're just kind of the things that they're saying and the confidence that they're speaking with, they're acting like a team that's going to be serious. They're acting like a team that's going to be fucking serious. But when you see that, and you know what a really serious team does? First of all, in a broader sense, take the regular season very seriously. This flip the switch mentality that they have, like they have LeBron in his prime, or Jordan in his prime. Kawhi's really, really good, but this guy has a degenerative quad, and he's got a torn ACL he's coming off of. He's going to have to be load managed regardless. And, we're talking like we're going to be able to flip the switch. It's complete arrogance or disrespect for your competition. You had the easiest schedule to start the season. We got gifted it. That's how the Warriors got off to such a great start last season. They were gifted a good start. They came out and took advantage, and beating shitty teams, you know what that is? You know what that does? It doesn't matter how shitty they are, because a win is a win. Guys need to make shots and get stops to win games, and that builds confidence within the team. We cannot do that. We are incapable. Every single year we've had these two guys to build any sort of rhythm. And the craziest part is the highlight of our season is we won 2 games in a row before we got Russ. 2 games in a row. That was it, against an injured Warriors team without Steph and Wiggins that is terrible on the road, and then a Suns team without KD. Now, I know the one thing people are going to say is we were 10-2 in the last 12 games with Kawhi and Paul playing and whatnot. Yeah, we were starting to play good basketball, but how many of those wins were against good teams? I understand I just said a win is a win, but we've shown no championship tendencies throughout the season. And here's my thing. You might think we're a championship team without Russell Westbrook and the roster that we had after the deadline, but Paul George and Ty Lue disagree with you. And that's the biggest issue of all. Paul George, I said it the second we made the move. I said, I'm kind of nervous about Paul George because he's had 2 shitty playoffs in a row. But we got fucking Kawhi. I'm so excited. We got the finals MVP. It's crazy, man. I said July 5th was one of the top 3 days of my life, 2019. I literally lost my mind. I'm just going to tell you a story. So we're going to be real candid here. I went to the gym that week. I remember I was at the gym, and I didn't even have a Twitter account at the time. I didn't even have a Twitter account, and I couldn't stop staring at my phone because I was so nervous that he would go to the Lakers. I was just going to be heartbroken, and I was just going to go back to how I was in, what year was it? 2019. I just had no expectations, and I just was like, you know what? Why would I even expect this for a chance to get Kawhi Leonard? Why would the former finals MVP or the current finals MVP come to my sorry-ass Clipper franchise, that's always sucked and whatnot, again, over the glitz and glam of the Lakers and Magic and LeBron and Kobe, Kawhi's favorite player? And the fact that the reason why I said I'm at the gym, I left the gym. I was so nervous. I couldn't even focus on my workout. That's how much this shit affects me. And maybe that's the issue too, Maybe all us Clipper fans need to just stop giving a fuck. Because the team, of course they care, but it's midnight right now. After this episode's over, I have to do Locked On Clippers. I'm probably going to be up till 4 a.m. talking about this team that I have no longer fun watching, but I just love them so much, regardless of who's in the uniform, that I'm never going to stop, and I will never be able to stop watching. It's like torture at this point, and I can't walk away. I just can't walk away. I just love this team so much. It just means a lot to me, and it just feels really like betrayal when the whole franchise just kind of sells this vision and they just play like this. When we talk about must-win games, we're talking about must-win games. And these guys, what does that mean to them? They're going to rest tomorrow. They're going to rest tomorrow. And then Andrew Grief's tweet about they're going to see how Paul George feels after a good night's sleep, how he feels in the morning. I tweeted about it. Do you want him to tuck him in and give him breakfast in bed as well? Read him a bedtime story? What is going on here? He is and I love Paul George. I will never, ever forget what he did. I never will forget it. And after they got us to the conference finals, I said I'm forever in debt to a degree. But that doesn't mean I have to lie. Paul George, he's not serious, man. He thinks this is La La Land, and he came here and has gotten preferential treatment from day one, recruited all his friends like this is fucking super friends or something. And it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Like, he's not good enough for us to be giving into these demands. And because he's got all the talent in the world, but Paul George is a perfect example of why talent isn't everything and why the mindset and confidence matters in sports. Paul George versus role players, yeah, he'll look like Michael Jordan out there because he's got confidence above them. But in the highest level, like, that's why we really got to give credit to the guys that have been second best players on championship teams. Guys like Kyrie Irving, we give him so much shit. Do you know how amazing you have to be to have those 3 games that he had, regardless of if he was playing with LeBron James, to have the 3 games that he had in those games 5, 6, and 7 against Golden State? It is actually like, you got to give a guy credit for that. You know how hard it is to be the way, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday were, the big plays that they made in that run from Milwaukee. We need to give those guys credit. That's why I always say, when everyone says rings, it's not all about rings and all this. I agree that someone's not just better solely off of rings, but that's why I think rings do matter, because it shows that you performed big when it counted most against the best competition. That's why I do think Bill Russell, like, he's got such a great case, like, to be the greatest, because no matter what you want to say, he executed on the defensive end. He found a way to win as the best player. These guys, MJ, LeBron, Kobe, these guys, what they did is incredible. And the sidekicks, the Pippins, Wade was able to be a sidekick. These guys, we have to give them so much credit. Chris Paul is also just an amazing player. And you can just tell it's hard. He hasn't won a chip. He has no, like, skillful flaw to me, Chris Paul. Like, in his prime, he was pretty quick off the bounce. Wasn't the quickest. Good mid-range, good 3, insane basketball IQ, amazing passer, good defender, great hands. But it's just like, it's hard to win rings. It's hard to win rings. And we have 2 guys with major question marks, Paul George and Russell Westbrook, and Paul George brought Russ in. I mean, at the end of the day, Paul George avoids responsibility. He makes a lot of excuses. He performed really well one year. He plays at an all-star level, but playing at an all-star level is not enough. 3 for 15. Is that what he shot tonight? That's absurd. That's absurd. By the way, I appreciate you, June 28th, July, and I really appreciate everybody that's here tonight. Over 100 people. I see everybody, people that work for the Clippers, people making merch for the Clippers, people talking for the Clippers. I appreciate every single one of you guys, the fans. Like, you make this worth it for me. If it wasn't for you guys, I would just be watching games, turning it off, and then doing my own thing. But this is a silver lining that I have the best support in the world. Every donation means a lot. I don't have to be doing this, but I do it because I love it, and I appreciate that you guys care about what I have to say. Because let's be real, man. Let me keep it fucking real for a second. Because everybody on Twitter that's been following my lead, I haven't even been saying fire Ty Lue. I never tag players. I never say any of this shit. But from the beginning of the season, I was shamed for being negative Nancy and thinking that this team wasn't serious. And they fucking aren't. 64 fucking games. And I'm sitting here saying the same shit. And everybody would say, oh, just wait till after the All-Star break. Wait till after New Year's. Everybody can fan the same way, but when I got people looking down upon me, trying to subtweet my ass, trying to start shit at the games because you don't like the way I talk about this team, go fuck yourself. You can't be serious. You're not serious because you think that whatever they do is going to be okay. And you know what? Maybe I'm the one that's at fault. Maybe I'm the one that's at fault because you have enough going in your life that the Clippers losing or winning doesn't mean much to you. And maybe I'm just young. Maybe I'm 24, single, not married with kids, and I don't have those other joys in my life. When the Clippers win, it changes my mood. Sadly, that's still who I am. And when they lose, it fucking ruins my night sometimes. And I know that's not healthy, but it is what it is. And I tend to think I tell it how it is. I tend to think I tell it how it is. These comments are ridiculous, man. But I tend to think I tell it how it is. And I think that championship teams just have a look. And even though I'm a Clipper fan and I've never experienced a championship, I've watched basketball as close as anyone, in my opinion, that I've ever met for 18 consecutive years. And I've seen what championship basketball looks like. I grew up with the Lakers. I'm happy I took advantage of watching all those games, because even though I'm not a Laker fan, I saw what seriousness looked like. Kobe honestly just spoiled me like big time. Like just watching him every night, it was just, I expect too much of every player. That's why I'm also so mad about load management. By the way, shout out to everybody that supported me on that tweet today that Paul George said. Stan Van Gundy literally said my tweet verbatim on the broadcast. Verbatim! So like, I mean, that's the golden part, man, is like, yeah, I still think that I don't want the players to get hurt, like, believe me, but I think there has to be some kind of change, because this is not a good product. And also, it's also just killing our team. Like the fact that Kawhi has to sit out tomorrow because there's a back-to-back, and we've had so many of them. If back-to-backs are so detrimental, you need to do the players a favor and either eliminate them completely and shorten the season, or extend the season and just make it go on longer and just play less, back to just eliminate back-to-backs entirely, because it's just not fair to fans. It's not fair to the players, and it's just not a good product, in my opinion, the regular season. The playoffs are so good every year that they make us forget about how much we really feel, a lot of us. I mean, there's people that can look past it, but I no longer can. And I've been getting bitched out on Twitter for 3 years about load management. And now finally, guys like Barkley, guys like Stan Van Gundy, even the players themselves are speaking out about it. And I'm not even just blaming the players. Everybody acts like I'm just saying that the players are at fault for everything. I'm not even saying that. But it's just inconsiderate from the top down, from the organizations to the thing. And plus, I am not seeing any evidence that injuries are being prevented or less. There's a huge flaw, and it starts at the youth pyramid of sports, and it's not just basketball. It's a huge issue, and I'm happy that we're talking about it. Darrell Wright and Brevin Knight, two former NBA players, former Clipper Brevin Knight, quote tweeted me today as well about it. And let's be real. If you want to talk about load management doesn't affect the Clippers, it completely affects the Clippers. I know every team load manages, but I'm going to say this again. As great as Kawhi is, and I'm okay, even if we choke again, which it looks like we're going to just blow it this year in round 1 or 2, we can run it back with Kawhi one more year, because there's really not that many better players than him in the world. But it's very hard to win a championship when your best player doesn't play over 60 games or 60 or more. When has it ever happened? I'm going to keep saying that because all the Kawhi apologists make these fucking excuses. But under 60 games, who wins the championship with their best player playing that little? Your best player is supposed to set the tone. It's not you have this deep roster to overcome the fact that he can't play all these games, or when he plays 4 games in 5 nights, or 5 games in 7 nights, he can't play the next game. Like, this is just impossible. And then you keep switching up the roster, the rotations. You don't make an emphasis on finding a set rotation. Ty says the continuity and all that is fine, whatever. I mean, there's too many excuses, and I just could keep going on. Like, you've heard me say it all season. I can keep going on. Ty Lue's been awful this season. I think there's nothing to say. This has been such a disaster, and I thank him for what he's done. Anything less than the conference finals, he should be out of here. Paul George, they need to see what they can get for him if we lose, don't make it to the conference finals. This is just unacceptable. And I really love the guy. I wish him the best in life. And I just don't think that he's got what it takes to win a championship, because it's just hard to win chips. And I think that's the moral of the story, is it's really hard to win chips. Talking about, and by the way, comment saying Zach LaVine. Have you seen what Zach LaVine looked like in Chicago? The lack of effort. Like, that's just the same thing. I'm not another jump shooting guy that, like, no, please. I don't know what to do. I'm not going to talk about who the Clippers should get, because I don't like doing the whole trade thing, because it's not fair to the current players that are playing. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to take my ass back to Staples Center on Sunday and still cheer on these absolute, I'm not going to use these extremely bad words, but these absolute softies. Like, obviously they're amazing, whatever, but relative to what NBA champions look like, they're soft. And they don't seem to care. They're way too cool for school. Kawhi is just too quiet to me. He's not a vocal leader, and that's fine. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't a vocal leader either. But I think he always played with a Magic or Oscar. Like, we Russell Westbrook on a buyout. Your buyout player can't be your most vocal guy, your galvanizer. I said that in the thing, but it's like, I'm just looking for positives. Like, we don't have a galvanizer. We don't have a Pat Bev, and we really do miss him. We really do miss a voice like that. He's done well with Chicago, funny enough. But I just think we have too many games since Pat Bev left where we just get kicked in the face. And when our shots aren't falling, we just don't respond. We don't do shit. The second our shots just went cold in the third quarter, we got out-fought, out-hustled, and out-muscled to every loose ball. They were locking our ass up. DiVincenzo was in Paul George's grill. And on the other hand, we're not staying in front of the ball. We haven't been able to stay in front of the ball all season, really. Like the beginning games, Zubats is just bailing us out at the rim because he was like playing insane in the beginning. And you know what? I really want to thank Ivica Zubats because that's one player I don't want to see leave this roster because he actually gives a shit every single time he plays. Yes, he has his bad games, but I never fault him for not trying. So I really want, and he's durable. I know he's injured, and it's ironic saying that now, but like I really want to give a shout out to Zoo. Robert Covington getting put in garbage time today was insanely disrespectful. It's, Marcus Morris and Zubats are out, and he can't get a fucking lick after you sign him to an extension. How dare you? How dare you sign him to an extension and treat him like this? I will applaud him when he asks out from this franchise. I will applaud him. Terrence Mann, the same. Let's see how many minutes Terrence played tonight. 24. 5 points. He was minus 24. I don't think he was that great, but at the same time, it's like, why take him out of the starting lineup? Honestly, if Russ came off the bench, it wouldn't even be that bad. I feel like we maybe should follow the Lakers model. Maybe Russ is just a bench player these days. This team isn't very serious. They've got no time to they have very minimal time to figure this out. I mean, they can still play good basketball to end the season. We still got 17 games left, but there's no way we're catching Sacramento. And I'm going to keep it real and keep it to my conviction. No top 3 seed, no ring. Because this team doesn't have the mental toughness to me to win 3 series on the road. And that's what likely it's going to come down to if we don't get the 4 seed. This team doesn't have it. And I was talking to somebody, I think he was in the chat earlier, Adam. I was talking about him on Twitter today. We don't have the mental toughness to win 4 series in a row. We're a jump shooting team. When our jump shots don't fall, we stop playing defense and stop trying. And then nobody seems to care. Like, there's no yelling out there. There's no nothing. They just roll over. It's old. We're old and slow and lifeless, and they're arrogant. We think that we can flip it. Once they get humbled in the playoffs, I would love to see their excuses. I would love it. I can't wait. But I can't wait because I want to see us win so bad. This team is breaking me, man. Yes, we shouldn't have gotten Russ. Moral of the story, we should not have gotten it. But at the same time, we weren't going to win a championship before that because Paul George would have been our primary ball handler, and he turns the ball over too much, and he has even worse turnovers than Russ to me. But the problem is the defense was playing 4-on-5 on offense. But here's my thing. In the first half, Russ was doing exactly what I said to do when teams don't guard him. If teams aren't going to guard him, 2 things are possible. 1, you're giving him room to get downhill. So it's 1-on-1 versus a big at the rim. I'm okay with that. And plus, when the second defender comes, Russ is the best player on the team in driving and kicking. Like, there's no doubt about it. And then in addition to that, you saw it on one play with Kawhi's backdoor lob. That was an amazing finish, by the way. But when you give a passer like Russ that much room, he has every window and time to pass the ball. So he can throw dimes. So like, I thought in the first half, he was fine. Like, people will say, oh, they're not even guarding him. But like, okay, let's say we had Reggie in there and they are guarding him. Reggie's going to do his same Reggie bullshit. He can't pass like Russ. He don't get downhill like Russ. He can't post up Jordan Poole like Russ did on the first basket. So I still think that he was a positive in the first half. But the problem with Russ is these last 2 games, second half, he's been a completely different player. He's missed every shot in the second half, every single fucking shot. And then he starts turning the ball over. And plus, he can't hit a jump shot. Like, I saw that with the Lakers, but it's very hard as a starting point guard in any era, even I think the 2000s probably you had the most point guards. They didn't shoot the ball. It's funny. I can't really think of play, and I'm big on history, but like even in the 60s, most of the point guards could shoot the ball. In the 2000s, you had certain guys like Andre Miller or Rondo that weren't great shooters. But here's the difference with Rondo, though. He's so much smarter as a player than Russ. He's the exact opposite. Russ goes down in the playoffs. Rondo was the opposite. Besides, the last year with the Clippers, that motherfucker every single year he would just tone up his game to another level. Andre Miller, he was like a post. He was different era, but he was awesome. Like in the post, and he was just under control. And he would shoot 18-footers. He wouldn't shoot threes. But Russ, I mean, they were really disrespecting him tonight. And I can see that the front office or whoever it is, coaching staff, has told him to shoot the corner 3. That's what they've been telling him, to shoot that corner 3. And I have more confidence in that shot going in. but it's still like not a very good shot. Like he still should pass them up if we're being honest. And the possessions, and he did this with the Lakers too. The possessions that he misses 2 wide open threes in a row, and the defense is just like so comfortable leaving him open. Those are like demoralizing possessions because they're like very embarrassing for a professional basketball player to me. When you not only miss 2 wide open threes in a row, which Norman Powell did tonight as well, but the defense is letting you do it, and the whole crowd is urging you to shoot. It's just an embarrassing moment. But you know who I'm really disappointed in? Eric Gordon and Norman Powell. To have 2 straight absolute duds is like, you guys are out there to score and play decent defense. I thought you were playing decent defense in the first half, but you're not hitting shots. Russ created so many good looks for them. Like, that's the thing. If Paul George had just made his shots, if Norman Powell and Eric Gordon had just made his shots, Russell Westbrook would have probably not been as criticized like this. And he probably wouldn't have gone 3 for 12. But it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, Paul George, this is the reason why I was fine with getting Russ, because at the end of the day, Paul George has nowhere to hide now. He has nowhere to hide. He can make all the excuses on his podcast, all he wants. Podcast P, playoff P, whatever. It's funny he's making fun of his own nicknames, but the joke's on you, bro. Because we've given you everything you asked for. And now Lawrence Frank looks bad because he caved. And I like Lawrence Frank. I think he's done a pretty good job with this team. But I also think this team is trying to make too many home run plays. They don't let anything build. That's an issue with this team. They don't let anything build, and they're too loyal to certain guys and unloyal to other guys. I have nothing else to say, guys. I'm just going to go to the comments now because when the shots weren't falling, they just gave up. And that's just unacceptable, quite frankly, when it's a must-win game. And I don't think the phrase must-win means anything to them anymore. I don't think the regular season means anything, and I think that they need to end up in the play-in and be humbled that way because this is just not okay. And to lose to Denver or Memphis, like we've already lost to these teams in the playoffs. If you're wondering when we lost, I know it's been 10 years since we lost to Memphis, but I don't give a shit. I still fucking hate them. And I don't want to lose to Memphis. And if there's one team I'd be down to lose to, it's the Kings, because at least there I can relate to them and I feel happy for them. Everybody else, I just can't stand. And it's going to be a whole lot of shit. And it's just, I feel sorry for Russ in ways because there's so much pressure on him. And that's the problem. That's why I said this was not worth it, because it's such a big deal. Look how many Russ stans followed me on Twitter. Look how many Laker fans are more in tune with what Clipper fans are saying right now. It's a whole spectacle. It's just a whole big deal. It's not necessary, man. It's not necessary. We didn't need it when we were actually playing good, decently good ball. And you know what was good about those little moves? They were just that, little moves, fine-tuning around the margins. And at the end of the day, it was going to come down to Kawhi and Paul George performing and creating shots for the team, and Ty Lue managing rotations. Do I think Paul George would have eventually screwed up? Yes, I do. But hey, at least we would have known that and we would have figured it out. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. If they even dare say that we had too much change and we didn't build continuity one more time, anyone that says that, they should be Microsoft style fired by Ballmer. Like just out, traded, whatever. It's like, because I'm tired of the excuses, man. And I just feel bad for Clipper fans because, especially the ones that live here, the ones that live in Los Angeles and have to deal with the everyday just banter of Laker fans. Like, it's not easy, man. I kid you not. It's really not easy. And I don't want to make anyone sound like they're feeling bad for me and shit. But like, if you're in another city, like when the Clippers lost when I was in college in Massachusetts with Celtics fans, like they kind of liked the Clippers in ways because they were anti-Lakers. Like it kind of like we shared a common enemy. But I felt more comfortable rocking my Clipper jersey around campus in Massachusetts than I did when I do here sometimes, because I just know someone's going to say something or give me a look. It hasn't been happening as much. Like if I did that shit tomorrow, oh my God, I mean, I'm getting laughed at. I'm getting looked at. I still going to wear my hoodie. Like I still rep regardless. Because at the end of the day, like this is fun. I mean, I got 142 people in here listening to my every word. So I appreciate you guys so much for it, but it's not worth it, man. I've given my lungs and my voice to this team since I was a little kid, sitting in section 318 at the top row with my family and watching, you know, Brevin Knight and Richie Fromm and Paul Davis and Al Thornton and Marty Collins and Mike Taylor and Chris Kaman and these different guys get smashed. But at the end of the day, I didn't expect anything. There's nothing worse than this. And this is the worst regular season I've ever experienced as a Clipper fan in my 18 years as a fan. Because even though it's like, oh, we're 500, this and that, nah. Nah, because it's all about the expectation. They always say it's the hope that kills you. I don't know how many lives I've got. It's so hard. It's hard when you care this much. And I guess the moral of the story, guys, is don't care as much. What can I say? I love Russell Westbrook. I love Paul George. I'm happy that I've gotten to see them in a Clipper jersey, but I don't believe we're going to be able to win a championship with those guys, even if they were separated again. I love Paul George, and I thank him so much for giving me one of the best moments of my life, my second favorite day I've ever lived in this world. That was a great, special day for me, and Paul George is a huge part of it. But, like, there's a difference between going to the conference finals and being some three-point chucking Jazz team and actually winning a championship. And 2021 was an objectively weak year. I don't want to knock championships, but it was an objectively weak year for the NBA. There weren't that many great teams. The Lakers and the Clippers were pretty good, and they both got hurt. Milwaukee was a good, very good team, and Phoenix was Chris Paul, D Book. They're solid, but like they didn't even play one healthy team, and the one team they did, they lost. Not every year is like 2021, guys. And now we got Kevin Durant on the Suns. We got the Celtics with Jason Tatum like about to reach his prime, and he's playing amazing basketball. Giannis is in the peak of his powers. Jokic is the peak of his powers, and finally he's healthy. Memphis is going to keep getting better over the years. Even guys like Anthony Edwards are going to keep getting better. Luka and Kyrie Irving this offseason are probably going to get some extra pieces. And now if you play Luka again, he's got a sidekick that's capable of averaging 30 points in a series. But, yeah, that's all I got to say, guys. Super chats are turned on. If you want to drop $1 a dime, every donation is appreciated. 133 people in the live right now. I'm going to go to the comments and let's talk. Wow. Oof. All right, guys. Yeah. Cook. Rackskith Bat. Never heard of you before, but thanks for joining. What's up, Jaden? Dime, keep going. I'm almost there. You're a fool. Showtime Nick says, tell these people giving you shit about Negative Ninja they're not the fucking fan police. I mean, I have gone into enough arguments at this point. ICC, appreciate the love, man. Clips since 91. Hey, see, like people like this, they deserve it more than me. These people deserve it more than me. That's 15 extra years of fandom. I mean, shit, you think it's bad for me? Talk to this guy. I feel sorry for you, man. Glow says it's not Russ's fault, man. Who's saying it is? See, but here's my problem, right? Hollywood Boom says, yeah, baby, get angry. We love it. Here's my problem with Glow, right? G-Lo or G Lopez. Jorge Lopez is aquí. Jorge Lopez está aquí, chicos. Okay, G-Lo is saying PG is a beta. So you say it's not all Russ's fault, man. PG is a beta. See, this is what you do. You shift blame. They're both, as we say in the West Side, clot. Mikey T, my Mavs fan, says, don't worry, I'm the same with the Mavs. Bro, you have a generational talent that's younger than the guy you're listening to. Just give me a break, bro.